Welcome to Democracy-ish. I'm Danielle Moodie.
And I'm Wajahat. And Danielle, congratulations. We have barely survived the first 100 days of the Trump administration. This
Nope.
ongoing.
It's on Wednesday, so we don't know.
So you know what? It's still young. We might not make it. We got close. We got asymptotic to the 100 days. That is the little bit of math that I still know. How are you feeling?
How am I feeling? I honestly, I still can't believe that we are counting days. Like, I think that the fact that so much damage can be done, the fact, Waj, that we have spent so many years seemingly yelling into a void about what would happen, and there are motherfuckers standing around right now like, I can't believe this is happening. It's like, did no one tell you?
Can I share something? This is personal. So over the weekend, I went to a really lovely barbecue or / birthday party, right? Middle-aged parents, people like us, all these kids running around. The people who invited us are really sweet. Our kids love their kids. A lot of the folks who were there are nice people that we know. They're wealthier than us. They're upper class.
I love how you run in a very interesting circle where every weekend, every Monday you come in and you're like, they're wealthier than us. And I'm like, what did they do right, Waj?
Yeah. Well, they all became doctors and they all pursued like the normal course. I just hang out with the poors. It's like me, Danielle, like the people I actually hang out with are like the poor browns and the poor black folks who are like, these are all our friends. They make much more money than us. How did we fail in life? But what I realized is actually we probably didn't fail in life because many of them took the safe route, which is fine. They're good people, doctors, engineers, business, right? And the reason why I'm mentioning this is on their own, these same people that I was talking to for the past 6 months, some of these people were misled. Some of these people fell into the, wait for it, gay panic. None of their kids are gay. Their wives aren't closeted gay. They've never met a trans person in their entire life, right? Some of these people fell prey to emotional, charismatic leaders who came to their mosques and their churches and their synagogues and preyed on those emotions, right? And said, both sides are the same. You have to punish Biden. It won't be that bad.
Right.
And these people who 2.5 months ago, my friend, I went to a fundraiser with him in the Bay Area, my hometown, super wealthy people. We were like, God dang, we really failed in life. 2.5 months ago, right after Trump won, I sat there and he's asked me, you did an interview, and he says, what do you predict will happen? And I hate being right. I said, by April, they're going to come after our kids, come after our students. The economy is going to tank, right? Yep. He's going to go full authoritarian. And then he said, one of those people who was there was very wealthy, called him up yesterday and said, when Wajahat came and spoke to us, me and my husband said, we really like him, but he's going a bit too far. And now he's right. And then yesterday at the barbecue, what they were saying were like, damn it, man, they really got us through the gay panic and stuff. I didn't think it'd be that bad. And some of them voted for it for their taxes. And a lot of these folks were people of color. What happened, Danielle, was this. They grew up like I did during 9/11. But you know what happened to many of them? They forgot. There's an Urdu word, and I'll say it, and you don't even have to know Urdu. They went tuss. Tuss is the sound of like a tire going flat. They went tuss. I told them to their face. They went tuss. They went to the suburbs. They married someone who's 7 to 8 on the hotness scale. They had 2.3 kids. They got the 401k. Now they go golf with Chet. And because Chet golfs with them, they think, oh, I'm the good one. And once it goes back to 9/11, even though they lived through it, you know what they said? We survived that. It wasn't that bad. Trump won. It didn't bother us too much. It'll be okay. The system will hold. And all of those people, Danielle, within 3 months now are coming up to me, the same people they thought was hyperbolic and a sellout. Shit, you were right.
I mean, I want to thank Allah on your behalf that you don't smack the shit out of them because me, on the other hand, I would have to be pulled away because I would pop. Like, like I just, it's, somebody just asked in the chat, they're like, what is gay panic? Gay panic, dear friend, is this idea that we are going to tell you that your children are being indoctrinated,
There you
that
go.
they are being subjected to and exposed to the quote unquote gay lifestyle. And if you don't want them to end up being gay or non-binary or trans or et cetera, then you need to take hold of what is happening in their schooling, what is happening in society. What the Trump administration, what conservatives, quote unquote, have been very good at doing is peeling off the conservatives from ethnic groups, from various racial groups, pairing off the conservatives who are aligned with them in terms of economics and finances, and are aligned with them in terms of stringent, cis heteronormative quote unquote values, and don't want this, Americanized like gay shit. That's the thing. And so it was, you put together, this like panic, and it's why you were able in the very beginning to gain votes and gain appeal inside the Black church, because 20 years ago, the Black church was very adamantly against what? LGBTQ community, right? Like, it doesn't align with our Bible. It doesn't align with our values. That's something, quote unquote, white people do. And so you're able to use these culture issues, these wedge issues, as a way to because you just need enough. You don't need all of them. You need, the 5%. You need the 7%. And then that adds up, right, over the course of time. So at Waj's barbecue, folks are like, they got me. And
That's what they said, Danielle. They got me. They got me.
And I'm like, who got you? Like, because everywhere else was telling you what the fuck was going to happen. But I tell you, Waj, that the whiteness, the proximity to whiteness is the gateway drug. It is the seduction.
Yep.
Right? It's the seduction of wanting the access to power, of being told, whether you are Pakistani, you are Jamaican, you are Latino, you are what have you, that if your kids get into the right schools, if you're on the right golf courses, if you're invited to the right party, if you're looked at as quote unquote the good one,
that's right,
then that's you making it.
That's absolutely it. That's absolutely you. It's going back to the word asymptote. You'll never be white, but if you're asymptotic to whiteness, you'll be safe. You'll be protected. You'll get to live in a gated community. They'll invite you over to the barbecue. You will be a sidekick, and that's good enough. Yep. And you will be the model minority. You'll be elevated, and your job, the Faustian bargain, is you be an enforcer for white supremacy. You turn around with a stick in your hand and you police the bad ones. So that's why they used, in Maryland, a Muslim to attack the LGBTQ CRT courses right here across the world, across the nation. The Supreme Court is very sympathetic. They used a Muslim plaintiff, and unfortunately, I think they're going to win. They used an Asian American to attack what?
Affirmative
action, right? It happens. Tiger Woods, Snoop Dogg, Saquon Barkley, the happy, shiny black people. We can't be racist. And so I remember I was going to do an article, and my wife stopped me. She says, you get enough heat. The article is going to be called Gays in Gaza. And my analysis was how gays in Gaza were the two reasons why a lot of people, not just in Muslim and South Asian communities, but across the board, we're not going to vote for Kamala Harris. And I wanted to lead with gays, because we've been talking about on the show for a couple of years, because folks, I'm here in Virginia and I've been writing about it for 4 years. The laboratory for this national cultural experiment that Danielle just laid out, the Trojan horse that they use to get just enough black folks, Asian folks, Latinos, right? Muslims, was the gay panic. It started with CRT and DEI and wokeness. They first started going against black people, banning black books. They saw that wasn't that popular, but the one thing that was really popular, your kid might be attacked by a transgender person. Your kid at school might become transgender. Your kid at school, they might convert him, and there's nothing you can do to stop him. Now, in the 80s, and Danielle knows this better than I do, it's her community. In the 70s, 80s, the way they really attacked the LGBTQ community, and I remember this because I grew up in the 70s and 80s, you know, you fall prey to it too growing up, right? Was the gay men are the predators. They're coming after, wait for it, your kids. Once you start putting LGBTQ with kids, my friends, I've been warning about this show. We've been warning about it for years. Democrats, step on this, step on this, step on this. This is going to work like gangbusters. Remember, for 2 years, we've been talking about Danielle. Right? You do not know how parents operate. You do not know how churches and mosques operate. I'm telling you, the conversation on WhatsApp is completely different from the conversation publicly, right? They're like, they're coming after my kids. Once the Republicans said kids, which is nothing new, folks, they keep doing it again and again.
Because it works. People, why do you do it again and again? Because it works.
And the otherwise smart people, they're like, they're coming after my kids. Now, what I've said on this show, and I'll say it again, I said yesterday at the barbecue, and I said it to these same people, and they sat there, they're like, yeah, you're right. I said, in the last year, seeing this was going to come, you know, seeing that Republicans have spent $215 million on the anti-trans campaign. After every football game on football Sundays, I remember the one ad Trump kept playing was Kamala's for they, them. Trump is for America. I'm like, oh, this is bad. All right. After spending $250 million, a manufactured campaign, I kept asking all these people, all these Muslims, South Asians, you know, Christians. I know all these different folks. I come from religious communities, right? I said the following. Have you ever met a trans person? They're like, most of them said no. Has a trans person ever said boo to you in a bathroom?
Nope.
To this day, Danielle, I'm keeping my own study. Zero. Has a trans person ever done anything to you? To this day, I'm being hand on my heart. Zero. Is your kid gay? No. Do you suspect your kid's gay? No.
Nope.
Do you suspect someone in your family is transgender? No. Is your wife on the DL lesbian? No. Is your husband on the DL gay? No. Then what the F are you worried about? It might happen to my kid. And voila, Danielle, the welfare queen, the anti-Sharia, the invasion of the caravan, the transgender panic, and now voila, 100 days of chaos, economy's in the shitters, might go into a recession, kids are being kidnapped, deportation, freaking people can't afford the price of eggs. Do you feel great again? Sorry for my rant, but someone wanted to connect the dots.
No, but it's really important to connect the dots, because it's important for us to continue to understand, how did we get here, right? Like, how did we get to this moment where 100 days into this administration, you know what scares me, Waj and democracy-ish community, what scares me is the fact that I actually cannot visualize the end of this year. I cannot visualize like where we are going to be December 31st, because so much damage has happened, and I cannot imagine what we are going to be saying, or if we are, or frankly, let's be honest, if we are going to be saying anything. Because if that right will not have been revoked. And so the fact that we are just coming up on, crawling on our fingernails, on our hands and knees to this 100-day mark, I cannot imagine the end of the year.
It's going to be bad. Look, like we've always said, Danielle, it's going to be bad. And people say it won't be that bad. I'm like, it'll be bad. That's another thing I kept telling them. It won't be that bad. It'll be bad. And I lived through 9/11. You lived through 9/11. I was 21 years old. Look at me. I'm brown skinned. I'm Muslim. Accidental student leader at UC Berkeley, just trying to figure out my major. I remember 9/11, folks. I remember the war on terror. I remember the Patriot Act. I remember Katrina. I remember the 2008 economic recession. It was really tough. This will be just as bad, if not worse. And Danielle, remember that? Those were years of pain. Years.
Yeah.
And now the same people from my communities who went tuss because they got close to whiteness, you know, me and my other friends, the poor ones, and the poor ones are like you and me. They're like the ones in government and public policy and activism.
I swear to God, if I could just have a time machine, I think about this often. If I just had a time machine, Waj, I would go right back to like when I was deciding my major. When I was deciding my fucking major, I wish, and my sister blames our mother for letting us do what we want.
Same here. My freaking parents.
Well, follow your passion. Where were you? God damn it.
Danielle's like, I'm gonna make money. I'm gonna be a special eds educator. I think in the future,
what the fuck?
I think in the future, special ed is where it's at. It's gonna be the Bitcoin of the future.
The biggest industry ever.
And I'm like, I'm gonna leave law and go write, because writers just but you know what? I thought about it. I'm like, one good thing is we followed our passions. We did what we did. I'd be miserable if I did the other thing. I'd be miserable. I wouldn't have married my wife. My wife would
on your yacht, maybe.
Yeah, but maybe. But like my wife, I would have married the wrong woman.
Yeah,
I would not have had this life. My wife, married me when I was completely broke, even though she's a doctor. And she told me, she goes, I'm marrying the writer, not the attorney. And also, this is important. We're built for this. We're built for this moment. We're made for this fight. That's the difference between us and those who went tuss. We know what we're confronting. Mm-hmm. We know the struggle ahead. We've gone through the lumps. We have the training. I know these folks. They're good people. They don't have the training, Danielle. They're not used to pain. They want everything to be lily white and perfect and manicured, right? And they don't have the grit underneath the fingernails, figuratively and literally. So I feel like people like us, okay, we don't have the yacht, and people think we're cray, but then people come around and say, "Oh shit, you're right." But we're used to this. Like we're used to this, and I feel like because we're used to this, we can call out the bullshit. And I think that's why there's 1,000 people watching right now. I think that's why we've been building this community. But speaking about the bullshit, folks, and connecting the dots, it's the job of media to do that for you. Yep. Media, and specifically news, is supposed to connect the dots. News's job is to say, this person saying it's raining, this person saying it's not raining. It's my job to stick my head out the window and see if it's raining, then come back and tell you whether it's raining or not, and then come tell the person who's lying to you, why are you lying? That's what news is supposed to do. Instead, in this bullshit environment, you and I have to see the White House Correspondents' dinner, where allegedly our colleagues, I don't know if they're our colleagues, this is what they did. As we just gave you a snapshot of the past 100 days, and this is what happened in the nation's capital over the weekend.
Yeah, so folks, over the weekend, if you guys, you're into politics, obviously, because you're here. And you know that the White House Correspondents' Dinner has, always been called Nerd Prom, right? It's the time of year where the president and the administration that's in power shows some levity. It's like a mini roast, and all of the elite in media and journalism show up, and a lot of Hollywood shows up. Well, this time around, not the case in terms of Hollywood showing up, but because this administration is so frail, because they cannot take a joke about themselves or like face any type of criticism whatsoever, they have to block everything out. So you may have known that comedian, formerly of The Daily Show, right?
No, she's a writer for Seth Meyers' show, and then she had her own show.
Oh, okay, and then she had her own show. Amber Ruffin was set to perform at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, but was fired after the Trump administration took offense at what she had said on a Daily Beast podcast. So and you guys know that I have a podcast over at the Daily Beast. I want to play for you what she said, which was not offensive at all. It was more so honesty, but we don't do that with this administration. So take a listen to Amber speaking with Samantha Bee, another comedian, about being fired.
100% interested in being like, ha, you're here. Look at your stupid head. You're burned. I care. You're kind of a bunch of murderers. I mean, so like they were like, you need to be, equal and make sure that that you give it to both sides and blah, blah, blah. I was like, there's no way I'm going to be freaking doing that, dude. Under no circumstance. And they want that false equivalency that the media does. They want that. It feels great. It makes them feel like human beings. But they shouldn't get to feel that way because they're not.
Some people are more culpable than others.
That's right.
And they get more jokes made about them, and the jokes are meaner because they're doing things that are worse.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. That's how that goes. It can't be even. It
Yeah,
actually
I don't see
can't.
how you could do it
It can't be
without
even-handed.
then becoming a part of what's wrong,
Yeah.
you know? So
Yeah.
talk to me in 5 minutes when I'll be like, "Oh, we have to stick together." Who knows how I'll feel.
You know,
Because
Waj,
of that clip, all
Yeah.
of MAGA whine and complain, and tell them what White House Correspondents Dinner Association did.
they fired her, right? Like they fired her because she wasn't. Waj, turn down your gain a little bit on
Sure
your, because it's catching up and people are saying it's echoing. Thank you. But they fired her because they can't take the heat of anything, right? They can't take the truth. And so the reality here is that they wanted her to present exactly what the media has been doing that got us into this fucking place in the first place, which is this both sidesism. Oh, they're both bad and they're both this and she's like, I'm not going to do that. Right? So she was presented with, you can do this, but it needs to look like this. And she's like, so I'm not going to do that. And, you know, I would tell you, like, I used to, right? I've been to the White House Correspondents events over the time when I was living in Washington, D.C. and like, you know, and it was like really deeply in that space and scene. And again, it was a different time because guess who was in fucking office? Obama. So who doesn't want to be like down there? But this is how the Hollywood Reporter, Waj, says, at White House Correspondent Weekend, glam with a small dash of dystopia. What in the fucking Black Mirror is that title? Like, in my humble opinion, there should have never been a White House Correspondents Dinner. That the mainstream media should have been like, you are closing down policies that allow for us to tell the truth. It is the only industry that is written into the Constitution, freedom of the press, and you are denying people the ability to tell the truth. And so we're all not attending, and we're having an event that is actually going to celebrate the reason why journalism and truth telling matter. But instead, what the fuck did they do? They were at the parties and, oh, there may be something a little bit different because some people were uttering phrases like authoritarian figure and the Supreme Court is our only hope. But guess what? They were still there, still dancing, still sipping, and acting as if all is okay. And, you know, Waj, please stop, because it's not like I don't want to sit here and be like, I'm bitter because I wasn't invited. You were invited.
You know, I'm old enough to remember that these White House Correspondents Dinners, folks, if you got the gray hairs like me, if you remember, just take the time machine back to when Clinton was in office and George W. Bush. Bill Clinton had the Monica Lewinsky scandal. Liberal comedians were ruthless for years. They roasted him. At the White House Correspondents' Dinner, to the president's face, comedians used to come up and destroy them. If you remember George W. Bush, one of the great roasts of all time, Stephen Colbert, in character, gets up and destroys George W. Bush to his face. That's what we used to grow up with. Remember that, Danielle? People, whether Democrat or Republican, used to get up there and they used to take their lumps and people used to laugh. Okay. This guy's so fickle and weak, they bent the knee. In the first administration, remember Michelle Wolf made fun of Sarah Huckabee Sanders' eyeshadow? Like, how dare you? And the same Sarah Huckabee Sanders who promoted a doctored photo of Jim Acosta assaulting a reporter. It never happened. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the White House press secretary, shared a literal doctored fake image of CNN, then CNN White House correspondent Jim Acosta assaulting a reporter that never happened, and they still bend the knee 10 years later. So at this dinner, there's a party the night before. So the dinner was on Saturday. The party of the year, is hosted by my agents who never call me UTA.
shit.
UTA remembers me once a year, sends me an invite. I went last year. After several years, me and my wife never go out. We have like 800 kids. So I'm like, Sarah, this is like a crazy party. You want to go with me? So my wife and I dressed up. We went. It was insane. It's completely packed at like the fanciest restaurant in DC. You know the name of it. I don't know. Right? All the TV hosts and producers there. Sometimes you get a few celebrities. I went there. I was like, this is crazy. Like me, my wife and I are not these types of party people, right? But it was like the rare occasion my wife and I went out. I met a few friends and we go. And Danielle, I'm sure you've had this conundrum also. Do you go show your face? Do you go mingle? Do you go work the scene, right? When you're a person of color. And so all my friends are like, Waj, you have to go. Mehdi's going. There's like a handful of Muslims. Just go, show your face. I'm like, fine. When we went last year, it was overwhelming. I got to meet a few friends. This year, I got invited again. I'm like, Sarah, do you want to go? And she's like, gosh, I mean, if it's for your career, we'll go. Do you want to go? And I'm like, I really, and then Friday night came and I got my friend on as one of our +1 guests. And then I said to her, I just thought about all of it. I thought about the scene. I thought about last year. I thought about the people who are going to be there. And just something inside me, Danielle, is like Donald Glover from, not Donald Glover, from Lethal Weapon, the actor, Danny Glover. Yeah, Danny Glover. Yeah. He says, I'm too old for this shit. And I literally got to the point where I'm like, I'm 44. I don't want to play this game. I'm not like these people. I don't want their validation. I don't care if they like me. I don't care if they see me. I'm not going to go there, kiss everyone's ass. I don't drink anyway. My wife is down to earth. She's in her ponytail. She doesn't want to go. I'm going to spend time with my kids. And then my other friends were like, Waj, it's the party of the year. How come you didn't go? You have to represent. There's like so few brown people and Muslims. Just go, show your face. And I'm like, no, I do not want to get ahead by playing the game anymore. I did in the past. I've always hated it. I'm not meant for it. If I don't get ahead by not showing my face and tap dancing at this party, so be it. Inshallah, I'll be fine. I'll be poor with Danielle. And so I didn't go. I didn't go and I didn't miss anything. I spent time with my kids. I was in my pajamas.
But I mean, like, that's like, look, it's so funny. And I think that it's funny being the age that we are, where you've been in this industry for long enough to know, like, we've all played the game. We've all gone to the mix and mingles. We've all gone to kiss up to the executive producers. We've all gone to say, hey, remember me? So love being on your show. Like, hey, let's do a selfie. Oh, let me post that so people know how important I am. Like, we've all done the thing. And I'm just like, and all it showed me was that, like, and look, folks, like, if you really know me, you know I love a cocktail and I love a party. But do you know what else I love? Fucking democracy. And I'm not going to suspend reality to, like, go to an event, to go, like, kiss rings and do dances for people who sold us out and got us into the fucking position that we're in. So I just, like, I have to show this picture and you tell them what you posted. But here is Scott Jennings and Abby Phillips. Abby Phillips, you know, hosts a show on CNN, her roundtable. And is one of, you know, the few Black journalists that have, you know, primetime shows. Scott Jennings, Republican, who goes on there, who has been on CNN lying his fucking face off for, like, oh, I don't even know how many fucking years, and just gets paid out the ass to fucking lie on a regular basis. Meanwhile, and like when Waj says, like, oh, I'll just be poor, because it's true. When you are looking at people that are making $250,000, if not more, to go on television and lie, and you have spent the last 10 years trying to articulate the truth and nuance and all of these things, and you make nothing, right? Like, you are asked to go on television for free, or you're giving a contract for like a minute and then it's done. But these fucking people make so much bread off of fucking lies. Like, it is enough to make you want to leave the industry altogether.
This was over the weekend, and Scott Jennings, he plays the WWE heel, the bad guy on Abby Phillips' show, derails the conversation on a nightly basis And then he posts this, and this was over the weekend, right? And look at them, chummy smiling. And so I did a quote tweet, which a lot of people retweeted, which is, it's all a game to them. As Trump destroys democracy, it's all smiles. And this is what I've been saying for years. Because listen, folks, I was at CNN for a year officially. And, they invite you to this. I remember there was a CNN picnic. If I remember correctly, it was at the same time as the White House Correspondents' dinner. And you go there, and it's all the CNN personalities. Everyone's chummy, hee hee, ha ha. And I remember I used to debate Scott Jennings, because at that time, Scott Jennings was allegedly a moderate right-winger who used to somewhat criticize Trump. Go back and look at his own articles and tweets. And I remember, I've shared the story before, is one time I told Scott, as he was turning more and more to the right, I was debating him with Andrew Scooper. All I said was, come on, Scott, grow a spine. Don't be an amoeba. You stood up for Trump before, stand up again. And the next day, the now president of MSNBC, who used to be the head of talent, called me up, actually called me up 4 times total in my tenure, because she said, you have to be nicer to Scott, because Scott Jennings is so weak like Trump that he narked on me. And Scott Jennings now is playing the role of Rick Santorum. I used to have to debate Rick Santorum all the time because Rick Santorum was the heel. Remember that, Danielle?
Yep.
Rick Santorum was the heel who used to derail all the talk shows and got paid handsomely. Scott Jennings took Ozempic and decided to become the Rick Santorum after Rick Santorum got fired for his racist comment saying that there was nothing here until the white man came and civilized America, right? He said a paraphrase of that.
Yep.
And then Don Lemon gave him a chance to atone, and he didn't.
He doubled down.
Yeah, he doubled down. So Scott Jennings became the new Rick Santorum, and Rick Santorum was the new Jeffrey Lord, another man I used to debate, and Jeffrey Lord got fired for doing a Zig Heil. Remember that? So this is the Scott Jennings and the Abby Phillips having a gay old time at a party during the weekend, during the first 100 days. It's all a game to them. And I'm telling you, folks, as a person who was at CNN, they're all chummy in the green room. They all go to each other's parties. They all date each other. They all marry each other. They all cheat on each other. They all divorce each other. It's all a big game to them.
And
sorry for my rant.
So it's all a big game, right? And everybody's hanging out, mixing and mingling. Oh, we can put our differences aside. This is not the fucking 90s. This isn't even the early 2000s. Right? Which is when we first should have, when the Supreme Court decided the presidential election, when we first should have said, you know what? Something is not right here. Like, we're not going to pretend that we both care about the country. We're not going to pretend that, like, we can settle these differences, because if your difference to me is about my humanity, right? Like, about my ability to live free in this country, and that's your difference, we're not going to toast over that. We're not going to giggle about that. And so in the meantime, what's happening? What is this administration doing? Trump administration begins Black History Museum purge with Black excellent artifacts being removed, because it isn't enough for them to go out with their, quote, illegal DEI, which they cannot define, and has been said that there is no legal foundation for their argument by 3 judges last week with the illegal DEI. But this is not stopping them from removing the lunch counters that Black people were denied the access to sit out from. I mean, folks, if you understand the depths at which this administration is going to undo and rewrite history, so that, and if you say, well, I know it, I'm talking about my high school. Every year, the senior trip is going to Washington, D.C. to take in fucking history. And now these kids are going to be going to these museums to see statues of white fucking excellence and the fucking Confederacy, and nothing that Black people have gone through or have succeeded in. It's called Black excellence for a fucking reason, because you have to be excellent to move through all of the purposeful obstacles and obstruction to your success that is the white American story. So these removals, right, are happening. And then I just want to go back, but this is what the fucking media is doing. This man that is standing next to this Black woman believes that this should be happening. How the fuck do you stand next to a white supremacist and smile? I have no idea. This is why I didn't want to put this image up here today, because I knew that I was going to end up here.
Wait. At White
You're like,
House court. Sorry. Oh, yeah, wait. At White House Correspondents' dinner, glam with the small dash of dystopia. And wait for it, folks. Right after what? See, I'm really afraid because Danielle's already in the red. I think I'm gonna put her like in what's beyond red. Check this out.
oh, wait, what? Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. What's beyond red? Oh, this moment. So Eugene Daniels, who's on the board, right, of the White House Correspondents, calls out April Ryan, right, from the stage, and guess what? The camera doesn't cut to April Ryan. Instead, it cuts to Yamiche Alcindor, right, twice, and Yamiche is mouthing, "I'm not April Ryan," but black woman, low haircut, so.
And what makes it worse is Eugene Daniels is a black man.
Correct, and gay, by the way.
So a gay black man, Eugene Daniels, who's the face of White House Correspondents' dinner, who's the one making all these. He's not the only one, but he's the face that they're sending out to make these announcements as they have him up there on the microphone. The cameraman's like, "Oh, black woman," not once, twice, and she's even telling him, "Wrong black woman." Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Look at what they make you
But
give.
here's the thing, Waj, going back to what you said earlier about your barbecue. It is worth it when you stop thinking about the collective and your community, and you have succumbed to the individualistic greed that is the foundation of America. I have got ahead. I have done the right thing. Everybody else needs to get on board and figure it out for themselves because I have figured it out. So there's
That's
Eugene
exactly it.
Daniels, who is black and gay, who they can say, "Look at our token. We're not racist. We're not this. We're not that." And look, I like his commentary. But to stand up there and be a representative of the antithesis of journalistic freedom, right? And think that you are doing something other than going along with the get along is on some fucking bullshit. And like, you have to own that. And not make pretend that like, oh, but there's still some service to be held here. We are 10 years past that shit. And they're still pretending. And that's what makes me outraged.
Like someone said, you can always say no. You can always say no. There's always going to be a cost, but you could say no. Look, I've been in that situation before in the past, tried to be the good person, reach out across the aisle, this and that. But then comes to a point at this moment in history where Donald Trump has openly said he's going to run for a third time, where Donald Trump has openly attacked immigrants and children, where Donald Trump has incited a violent insurrection, where we know, Danielle, after 10 years,
Yep,
they don't care about us, where they're purging not just LGBTQ, literally people from the military and U.S. history, like we predicted. That was a Trojan horse for Black people, Native Americans, Latinos, women, Muslims. As this is happening, and he started a trade war that is going to sink this country and the world probably into a global recession. Is it worth it, folks? That's the thing, and going back full circle, I've been poor before. So I sat there and I think about it. I'm like, I can take the lumps, but at the end of the day, you have to look at yourself in the mirror. Like, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and you have to live your life. And I am a Muslim. I believe in God. You have to meet your creator. I believe those who believe in God, those who don't, it's okay too. But like, I'm just speaking from my perspective. Like, you have to meet your creator also one day. Like, what did you do with the time that you had? Was it worth it? And is it worth it to be there and be like, haha, look at me having cocktails, selfie. Oh, but by the way, we completely bent the knee to Donald Trump, have completely hollowed out this dinner, fired a Black comedian. And when the Black gay man is on stage, misidentified a Black woman twice in the audience. And while this is happening, Black excellence is being purged. But hey, there's just a dash of dystopia with the rocks.
Pass me the champagne. And again, it is, I have too much integrity, right? Like, so we joke about being poor because we are. That's that's the funny thing. In comparison to where our peers are in this space,
Oof.
right? It is but it's like, why is that? because having integrity in media, standing up for the truth, literally does not pay. And so it is,
For now, I remain hopeful that the masses will wake up, inshallah.
I want people to understand that you and I made a choice, right? Like there were choices to be made about how you want to make your way in this industry, in media, as a writer, as an analyst, as a voice, as a personality. And we made the choice knowing that if you go the other way, there are riches to be had. But the shallowness, like Spring, thank you so much.
That wasn't our shit.
That was not. That was not. But we
Poppers.
appreciate it.
We're like, we're so poor.
We're so grateful. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Springs. Thank you. We didn't mean to sound like that, but that was really thank you. Goes a long way.
But it's true that we made a conscious decision to tell the truth, and that doesn't pay. And so, it is, I want people to really, truly, I think that it is important for people to understand who are not inside of this industry, like what you give. And Waj always makes that point from the Born Identity. Look what they make you give. And neither one of us wanted to give our souls and our integrity in order to arrive at said place and not be able to look not only ourselves in the mirror, but our families in the mirror. I mean, look at our families and say, oh, look, be proud of me, but like proud of me for what?
When I was on CNN, I don't know if you all remember seeing me. I spent that year that I was on there, every platform I got calling out Donald Trump, right? And I got I got 4 warnings, all from Republicans narking on me and having the management come and complain. And then I remember a journalist who I won't name, who was once at CNN, said, "Oh, you got 4 strikes from Republicans? Yeah, they're probably not going to renew your contract." And they didn't renew my contract. I think not because they didn't like me. Actually, I did really well there. I know for a fact I did really well. I crushed it. I brought, like, you have to be excellent, right, Danielle? Mm-hmm. So you have to bring your A. I always brought my A game, always was informed, morning shows like me, evening shows like me. And then COVID happened. And then when COVID happened, they told me that they're replacing all their commentators with, not all their, but many of them with doctors for COVID. I understood. No hard feelings. And a lot of people they got rid of, the first and foremost, anyone take a guess, were the POCs and the progressives, one after another. But they ended up keeping the Scott Jennings and the people who play the game and don't ruffle the feathers. There's a game to be played here, folks. Danielle and I might be fools, but we're not stupid. Danielle and I can be millionaires overnight. Me and Mehdi joke about this all. We've been joking about it for years. All these people who think we sell out, right? Because you get on TV, I'm sure, Danielle, within your communities, they think, oh, she sold out. Like, no. Trust me, if I was to sell out, you'd see me wearing a MAGA hat right now, talking about all these lazy immigrants who don't work hard enough and should stop complaining. And then I would have a best-selling book. I'd be on the right-wing talk circuit. I'd be on Fox News, and me and Danielle would be on the yacht. I don't even drink. I'd have like a pina colada without alcohol. Danielle would have her margarita, and we'd be sitting next to Scott Jennings right now, smiling. That's how you sell out, right? So this is us trying to keep it real because we want to protect democracy. And speaking about democracy, folks, this is one of those we told you so's. We told you. April, we said on this show, by April, it'll get terrible. Look at this.
Look at this. Donald Trump has the lowest 100-day job approval rating of any president in how long? The past 80 years. With public pushback on many of his policies and extensive economic discontent, according to ABC. And it gets even better. But yet, folks, he still beats the Democrats in Congress in terms of trust to handle the nation's main problems. 39% of respondents in the ABC Washington Ipsos poll said they approve of how Trump is handling his job as president, down 6 percentage points from February, while 55% said they disapprove. The previous low, folks, was for Trump the first time around in his first 100 days in office. And so how the fuck do you have in modern history two of the lowest poll numbers at this point, which, by the way, folks, this is supposed to be your honeymoon period as
That's
president.
right. That's what people forget. Tell them.
This is the thing about the first 100 days. It's why you calculate them, because you are never as popular, right, from your election than in your first 100 days. It's when you have the most power behind you to get your agenda done, because people are still riding high on the fact that you were elected. That is why we track the first 100 days. So when you look in comparison to other presidents, Obama at this point was at 62%. Joe Biden was at 54%. Bush was at 52%. You're talking about more than half of the country being on your side, and that's what gives you the push to move forward with your agenda. The fact that Donald Trump is at 39 fucking percent, which is 6 points lower than when he was at his first low mark in his first administration, is absolutely bananas.
Yeah, and hasn't been 100 days yet. And so with all of that, with majority of the country turning against Donald Trump, you would think that some institutions would finally grow a spine and fight back. But tell them about Paramount and 60 Minutes.
So, as you guys know, at the end of it was, I guess, last week, 60 Minutes has had 3 executive producers in their nearly, I think, 100 years on
57.
fucking television. 50, I'm
57.
sorry. It felt like it was 100 years. So in their 57 years of being on television, they've had 3 this is unheard of. They've had 3 executive producers. Bill Owens, what has been the executive producer of 60 Minutes for, I think, what has it been, like 40 years he's been with 60 Minutes
Like
or something?
forever.
Like forever and a day. He stepped down last week. And why did he step down? Well, I want you to take a listen to one of the cadre of hosts to listen to what they say about the decision by Paramount, why he removed
Tonight's Last Minute, a note on Bill Owens, who until this past week was executive producer of 60 Minutes. He was our boss. Bill was with CBS News nearly 40 years, 26 years at 60 Minutes. He covered the world, covered combat, the White House. His was a quest to open minds, not close them. If you've ever worked hard for a boss because you admired him, then you understand what we've enjoyed here. Bill resigned Tuesday. It was hard on him and hard on us, but he did it for us and you. Stories we pursued for 57 years are often controversial. Lately, the Israel-Gaza war and the Trump administration. Bill made sure they were accurate and fair. He was tough that way. But our parent company, Paramount, is trying to complete a merger. The Trump administration must approve it. Paramount began to supervise our content in new ways. None of our stories has been blocked, but Bill felt he lost the independence that honest journalism requires. No one here is happy about it, but in resigning, Bill proved one thing. He was the right person to lead 60 Minutes all along. I'm Scott Pelley. We'll be back next week.
That's pretty hardcore, folks. I mean, he connected the dots. He told it to you straight. He called it his own company. Paramount, which because a handful of corporations run all of news. Yep. Paramount wants that merger. They realize Trump might be vindictive. Trump is going to punish them. So Trump now has launched a $10 billion lawsuit against 60 Minutes because Trump and Musk didn't like the way a Kamala Harris interview was edited. So Bill Owens decided on, pretty much not in the deal now, but this is why he did it, to pretty much sacrifice himself on the sword as a warning shot to the industry. And 60 Minutes, folks, is the Tiffany, show of the Tiffany network, right? Yep. Like that's the gold standard. So the fact that Bill Owens, like Danielle said, in the storied history of 60 Minutes, there's only been 3 producers for 57 years. Bill Owens is a titan. The fact that he stepped down because he's telling you that he can no longer do his job due to interference from Paramount should be friggin' 5-alarm fire. And Scott Peely openly tells you it's because of Gaza and because of this administration. And Bill Owens hopes that his resignation, him falling on the sword, might inspire his colleagues to grow a spine. And did it? Well, we give you the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
And these are the things that they don't want you to know. So just quickly, Trump is underwater in every single fucking area.
Everything.
Do you approve or disapprove of the way Trump is handling? If you look, folks, it's negative all the way down this side. A majority of people disapprove of his handling of immigration, his managing of the federal government, Doge, the economy, tanking, the way that he's trading with other countries, or you mean putting us into trade wars, foreign conflicts, the war between Russia and Ukraine, the case involving Kilmar Abrego Garcia, right?
Tell him the number.
52% disagree. So they
He's
tell
net
you
approval. Can you go back to that real quick?
Yes.
Real quick. Look at the right, folks, if you can't see it. Negative 21 on Kilmar Garcia. Why? And it's all connected. Democrats did not touch immigration because immigration, as of last week, was Donald Trump's strong point. So they decided we can't message based on integrity and values and ethics. That would require a spine and a soul. So instead, we will rely on overpaid consultants to give us the terrible advice, and we'll give them a lot of money so they can sip cocktails at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and we'll go along with Republicans and sign the Lake and Riley Act. We'll stay quiet as they kidnap and deport pro-Palestinian activists. Hey, middle America doesn't like them immigrants and brown people. Just look at the polls. Then there was a few Democrats who decided, you know what, this is wrong. Senator Van Hollen, for example, AOC, Jasmine Crockett.
Yep.
Senator Van Hollen on his own last week, by himself, huge risk, decided to go down to El Salvador and not leave until he gets proof of life of Kilmar Garcia. By putting the pressure on Kilmar Garcia, and 60 Minutes did that reporting, showing that 75% of the nearly 238 immigrants who were sent to El Salvador do not have any criminal charges. Mm-hmm. Keeping that in the news, doing follow-up questions, Democrats a Democrat or two coming up with the spine. It was in the news. More people found out about it, and a positive within 2 weeks for Donald Trump became a negative. Maybe there's a lesson there, Danielle.
Maybe, but sipping champagne is more important, because here's what, again, the media should be focused on. The Trump administration just deported 2 families, including 3 U.S. citizen kids, aged 2, 4, and 7. Both families were detained and then blocked from communicating with attorneys or family. One of the moms is pregnant. Jesus. One of the citizen kids has cancer. Both deported without medical help. You're saying, oh my God, no possible way. Yes way. Trump's latest deportation tear includes a 2-year-old and a kid with cancer.
And this is not the first time he's deported a kid with cancer.
Not the first time. And this is what they said. Regarding the child with cancer, Rolling Stone reported that they were deported out of the country without medication or consultation with their treating physicians, even though ICE had been notified of the child's needs.
And the parents who are undocumented begged them not to deport their citizen children with them. They said, keep the citizen children here. And I said, nah, you're all going to go.
Because who said that? Who
Tom
said
Homan.
We're not going to separate. Oh, we're not going to do what we did in the first administration. We're not going to separate the kids. Everybody can go.
Border czar Tom Homan, concrete come to life, openly said, wait for it, on 60 Minutes before the election. Oh, we're not going to separate the kids. We're going to send them along. And guess what? They did it. So maybe take them literally and seriously, Danielle. This is where we are in America, where they are deporting citizen children suffering from cancer.
And folks, I did a video over the weekend called Cruelty is the Point that is up now. That was an in-depth on the fact that children who are being forced at as young as 4 years old to defend themselves in court because the Trump administration closed down $200 million worth of contracts for immigration attorneys and guardians to be able to represent these children in the court of law. So now toddlers are climbing up into the chair with headphones on their head to listen to a judge talk to them about needing to either stay or leave the country and understand government at the age of fucking 4. And if you think that I am lying, watch the video. Cruelty is the Point, because I was livid when I learned that, guess what? Unlike how Law and Order tells us if you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be provided for you only if you are a citizen of this country. Does that apply? Otherwise, it is up to the government to decide whether or not they are going to afford you with that public defender. And the Trump administration said, fuck them kids.
And this is Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller is in charge of the administration pretty much. Donald Trump is checked out. If you don't believe me, see the image of him literally falling asleep at the Pope's funeral where he could not be bothered to dress in black like everyone else. Tell me about Joe Biden's mental health. He was there as well, looking, despite his ailments, was fine, wore black, stayed awake. Donald Trump fell asleep. Stephen Miller, racist, white nationalist. This is his agenda and Steve Bannon's agenda. They have told you. If you don't believe me, just listen to them. This is their agenda come to life. They have all the power. It's a white supremacist agenda. Their main goal is to make America white again by any means necessary. If that means destroying the country, so be it. They want to get rid of all of us. They want to end birthright citizenship. They want to reverse naturalized citizens. They want to kick us all out, even though it will destroy us. And so as this is happening, do you want to sip cocktails with the enablers and enforcers of white supremacy, or do you want to fight back? Do you want to be like Elise Slotkin of Michigan, the senator, remember, Danielle, who they chose of all the people to clap back against Donald Trump during his fake State of the Union? And Elise Slotkin, we talked about it last show, said, we need to have a war. And the war plan is to ditch weakness and wokeness. That's Elise Slotkin. That's what she said. We got to ditch weakness and wokeness. Or do you want people to really fight for the rest of us? And folks, there's a great article as we close. There's a great article that came out last night. You all should read it. It's in Semaphore, Semafor. Ben Smith wrote it, and can't make this up. Billionaires and the right-wing villains have their own Signal app. And in the Signal app, folks, is all this consortium of like billionaires and right-wing millionaires and right-wing like influencers like Ben Shapiro. And yep, they have their own Signal group in WhatsApp, Danielle. And all those people are coming together using their wealth and their paranoia and their right-wing grievances to come up with like their type of sociopathic fascist way of ruling the world. That's what we're dealing with. If you have time, go read that article. It came out late last night on Semaphore. These are the people that we're dealing with. They're telling you their Bond villain plot. So do you want to sip martinis with them, or do you want to fight them? I don't know. You tell me.
I'd rather drink bleach, but that's me. So folks, as we close out today, because we gave you a lot, and I think that it's important to always try and leave you when we can on an inspiring note. And so, and somebody already mentioned it in the chat. Pritzker gave a rousing speech yesterday, Governor Pritzker, and want you to take a listen.
Never before in my life have I called for mass protests, for mobilization, for disruption, but I am now. Republicans cannot know a moment of peace. They have to understand that we will fight their cruelty with every megaphone and microphone that we have. We must castigate them on the soapbox and then punish them at the ballot box.
I mean, this is what Waj and I have been saying. Republicans should not be allowed a moment of peace. They should not be allowed to go about their day and their life as if all is well. We should not be wasting our time and energy commingling with people that are literally participating in the destruction of our democracy and sipping cocktails and thinks that somehow, oh, we'll just get them next time. We will not. Like, it is either now or it is never. And so, Waj, I'll turn it over to you to close because we are already over and I got another show. But
the Washington Post, just so we did this, Washington Post did a article right now that's saying that Pritzker speech in New Hampshire is now fueling his presidential campaign. As we said before, fighters will be rewarded. Chris Van Hollen's in the ring. Jasmine Crockett's in the ring. AOC's in the ring. Do you see Democrats? And meanwhile, Schumer and all these other people still can't figure out how to work their mother effing Zoom and camera. So this is where we're at, folks. It's going to take the rest of us to take back the country and to take back the institutions and to take back parties that will fight for us. And if people aren't fighting for you and for kids who are being kidnapped and detained and deported, kids who are suffering from cancer, then that's about as useful as a second belly button. All right. I don't need you. And so, yes, we might be poor, but you know what? It's good to have integrity. Thank you all for watching, folks. Danielle, we got her to 23,000 subscribers. We need to get her to 25,000. If you've just tuned in, if you've watched our show before, I know it sounds silly, but if you can, click the bell on Danielle Moodie's page, get her 25,000. That's how we get more and more people to watch the show. Please like this video. I know it sounds silly, but the way the algorithm works is once the video is about to be published in 1 minute, share the video anywhere. Blue Sky, Twitter, Facebook. It goes a long way. For all the super chatters, $100 today. Thank you. Someone gave us $100. The $1, the $2, the $5, the $10. All the people give us money. It goes such a long way. Thank you so much. And we will be back Friday. But tomorrow, I think we're going to do, since you all liked it, we're going to do a Substack live. So if you follow, Danielle has a Substack. Subscribe to Danielle's Substack, The Damn Digest. Subscribe to my Substack, The Left Hook. And tomorrow, there's an app you can get. It's really easy. It's the Substack app on your phone. It's really quick. It's really convenient. And you'll be notified when we go live for a live midweek chat. And I think we're going to do our first one tomorrow.
yeah.
I don't know what time. We'll figure it out. Maybe in the early afternoon. Danielle, I can't hear you.
I went away. Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to and watching Democracy-ish. I'm Danielle Moodie.
And I'm Wajahat, rich in the bank account. I mean, poor in the bank account, but rich in spirit, inshallah.
We will see you back on Friday. See us on Substack at some point tomorrow. We will let you know. Be well, friends. We appreciate you all so very much.